why you should leave the Netherlands before 2030, and where you can find a lot more freedom in the coming years. The truth is, your wealth could be at serious risk, so why not act before the new law comes into effect? You see, this isn't just another tax, this is a trap that could cost you millions. And as always in the European Union, including in the Netherlands, there is a deeper agenda to this new potential law. Well, this new law has not come into effect yet. It could affect many Dutch citizens, especially the richest people in the Netherlands. This new potential law could affect unrealized capital gains from your real estate, stocks, and even businesses. That's right, your assets could be taxed before you cash out. So even if you decided not to sell any of your assets, you may still have to pay a tax. There is a reason why there is a mass exodus of European entrepreneurs into more relaxed, low-tax countries located in different geographic locations. And this isn't just affecting the Netherlands. This new law that's coming into effect potentially in many European Union countries is affecting entrepreneurs, investors, and people who own location-independent businesses. Now, the truth is that you have alternatives. You don't have to stay in the Netherlands and continue down this path knowing that you are going to get taxed to hell. There are a few very tax-friendly countries you can immigrate to relatively easily, especially if you have an income. There are many low-tax destinations in Latin America, like Panama, Uruguay, Paraguay, and a few others. But you could also relocate to Eastern Europe, to countries with much lower tax rates. Of course, the Caribbean is a very popular destination for people looking to preserve their wealth. A lot of the times people take time with acting on this. Why? They always think they have more time left than they do. So what happens naturally is that people postpone very important financial decisions until they are with their backs against the wall, because it is time to make a decision now. But the truth is that you have to create a tax-friendly structure before the new tax laws come into effect, because there's no way for you to get out of the system if and when the new law comes into effect. So what intelligent entrepreneurs, investors, and location-independent business owners do is they create the structure before it is needed. Like I've said, there are many geographic locations where you can get a residence permit by proving an income of just $1,000, potentially $1,500 to $2,000 US monthly, an amount that's very durable, especially for people that have businesses, for people who invest, for people who are location independent. $1,000 to $2,000 a month is very durable. The truth is that Europe's elite is doing things that will keep the wealthiest Europeans, entrepreneurs, investors, and location-independent business owners out of Europe. They're not putting these policies in place to encourage business to move into Europe. These policies are in place for you to not leave and to take as much of your wealth as possible so that if you decide to leave, you're done. This truly is part of a bigger trend in Europe. While there are tax exemptions in place for North Americans moving into Europe, native Europeans looking to move out of Europe are now facing a very similar situation like Americans, wealthy Americans looking to renounce US citizenship because they have to pay an exit tax. They're being taxed 30% of their wealth if their net worth exceeds a certain value, a certain amount. This new exit tax that could come into effect in the Netherlands could affect so many wealthy Dutch citizens. Those who own property, those who own businesses, those who are well invested and diversified could pay the biggest tax burden potentially ever. So why wouldn't you move to a pro-business friendly, low-tax environment like a Uruguay, like a Paraguay, like a Panama, where this is not going to happen? You see, if the Netherlands pushes this tax through, it could lead to a massive wealth exit from the Netherlands into the Latin American countries I mentioned, Panama, Paraguay, Uruguay, and possibly also destinations located in the eastern hemisphere of the planet. There is a reason behind the growing popularity of relocation. let's talk about some of the benefits of moving to Paraguay and getting Paraguayan residency and escaping the Netherlands before 2030. You see, Paraguay has zero tax on foreign sourced income, making it an ideal destination for Dutch citizens and, in fact, European Union citizens, Americans, Canadians, and Australians alike who have income from abroad, wish to live in Paraguay and pay 0% tax on foreign sourced income. Paraguay is one of the least controlling countries in the entire world. So if you want to escape the tyrannic government of the Netherlands, the European Union, North America, Paraguay will welcome you with open arms, not asking you to pay taxes on income generated offshore. So if you have income saved from a business abroad, if you have income from a remote job, and potentially also some investments, you may not have to pay taxes in Paraguay. Paraguay's residency process is very straightforward. It is easy, you don't have to prove economic solvency. In fact, you don't have to have any income proof at all. You can relocate to Paraguay, obtain residency, make Paraguay your home in as little as 4 to 6 months, which is a very reasonable time frame. But again, I want to highlight a very important point, and that is, this isn't just for EU citizens, right? If you're an American, a Canadian, an Australian looking to leave the crazy high taxes in your native countries, you can go to Paraguay, pay 0% tax on foreign sourced income. And if you're from a visa-free country like America, Canada, the European Union, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Taiwan, Japan, South Korea, South Africa, the UAE, and a couple other countries, by the way, you can get residence in Paraguay without obtaining an entry permit. Paraguay's economy is booming with opportunities for those bringing unique skill sets to the country, looking to monetize potentially saturated skill sets in the West. Next up, Uruguay, another very sought-after country located in South America. While Uruguay does not border Paraguay, Uruguay is home to an interesting tax exemption that you can get as a first-time resident to Uruguay. So you can get Uruguayan residency, and the best part of the Uruguayan residency is that if you have some passive income, if you have proven income, and you can demonstrate that to the Uruguayan government, you can get residency in very little time. In fact, some people who apply for Uruguayan residency in Uruguay get approved and have, it ready within a week. So unlike Paraguay, where you have to wait for 90 days or longer, in Uruguay you can get it in as little as a week. Of course, this may not happen every single time and for all people, but that is like the fastest turnaround time that we have seen. On top of that, Uruguay is a very politically stable country with a democratic government, fair elections, and a very peaceful transfer of power, unlike the transfer of power that we're seeing or not seeing in other countries in the region. Political stability and economic growth are some of Uruguay's biggest selling factors, attracting not only middle-class citizens, but also very wealthy investors to the country located in South America. You see, this foreign income tax exemption is really ideal for people looking to move to Uruguay, spend some time there, get the 11-year exemption, don't pay taxes on foreign sourced income. And another good thing is that now certain things have been streamlined and you may be eligible to get permanent residency in Uruguay in just a few months, right? So you may be eligible to get Uruguayan permanent residency in as little as, perhaps 3 to 6 months. Conditions apply, obviously, and you must meet all requirements, but it is possible. The strong banking sector and business-friendly environment are really main reasons why you want to start a business in Uruguay. Uruguayan real estate is very popular. You're looking at a very strong rule of law, which is very important if you want to invest money. You want to invest in a proven concept. You don't want to go out there, invest in countries with weak rule of law, where you're not protected as a foreign investor. And I think that's very important. The high standard of living is another reason why people immigrate to Uruguay. While Uruguay is not the cheapest of countries in the region, it's one of the most expensive countries in whole Latin America, it offers a very high standard of living, relatively high safety, beautiful, clean cities. There's just a lot of meat on the bone for an American, Canadian, or European looking to come with their wealth into Uruguay. So if that's what you want, then definitely come into Uruguay. You could consider Bulgaria. It is low tax, 10% corporate tax, 10% personal income tax, a much shorter and potentially quicker relocation if you're anywhere in Europe. If you're in North America, Obviously, you're going to have to cross the Atlantic, but 10% on local income, 10% on foreign sourced income, 10% on corporate income is a relatively fair deal. If you come from North America into Bulgaria, you can consider the Trade Representative Office visa. If you have an established business abroad and you're looking to live in Bulgaria full-time on a permanent basis, you can qualify for the Trade Representative Office visa by showing the government that you have had this business abroad for a number of years and that you are in fact the owner of the business, and there are a few more conditions that apply as well. Now, Bulgaria is also home to a very interesting environment for entrepreneurs looking to hire tech talent. With a relatively low median wage in the region, it is an ideal destination for entrepreneurs looking to get the most value out of the local labor force. And there's a high percentage of Bulgarians that speak English, making it, again, a very ideal destination for an internet entrepreneur, for someone looking to capitalize on the local labor market. Singapore is not a place you can move to. While getting permanent residency in Singapore is very difficult to impossible these days, unless you're a very high net worth individual or you bring a very important skill set or fortune with you into Singapore. It's probably going to be hard to get permanent residency, but the quality of life living in Singapore, being in Southeast Asia, is definitely worth it for a lot of people. You have so many opportunities in Singapore. There's no capital gains tax, low corporate taxes, a very business-friendly environment. And Singapore is also home to a very stable government, a very pro-business oriented government, very strong rule of law. Very little, if any crime, serious crime, is committed in Singapore annually. It is a very safe country to live in. Plus, if you like living in Southeast Asia and enjoy this kind of lifestyle, I think Singapore could make a lot of sense too. Panama would be another place you can move to escape the high taxes in Europe, in North America, in Australia. Panama has many visas available to people from friendly nations visa countries. So if you are from a Western country looking to immigrate to Panama, you find yourself in a very favorable position where you can get in by potentially incorporating a business, sponsoring yourself, so becoming an employee of your own company, and of course continuing this company, paying yourself a salary, paying payroll taxes, meeting all the requirements the Panamanian government has in place for you to convert from temporary to permanent residency, which can happen after a number of years of running the business and paying yourself a salary and paying yourself payroll taxes, right? So of course there are requirements in place, but you can meet them without extreme difficulty. You can also purchase real estate in Panama. That'd be another very popular option. Panama is also home to a very stable government, low corruption, and a very business-oriented environment for entrepreneurs to thrive in. So Panama would be a definite recommendation in today's video. If you want low taxes, Panama is home to a territorial tax system where foreign sourced income is not taxed. Local taxes are not the lowest, but not terrible either. It's a great country to start a business, plus the proximity from Panama to North America is favorable for Americans and Canadians looking to reside in the Central American country. If you don't want to be spending a lot of time in airports, on planes, then, if you're from North America, Panama does make a lot of sense. Now, if you're interested in relocating to one of the countries that we discussed in this video, please book a consultation with us today. Go to nomadelite.com and book a consultation with me personally. I look forward to consulting with you on the best available options for residency in Latin America, Europe, and Asia. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to welcoming you to the next video.